Alright everyone, it's Tuesday and we're back with Jackie McNamara and Asim, and we've got plenty to get through. Jackie, was that the most routine 3 points we'll see all season?
Yeah, it's comfortable. I think we spoke about that last week, that they would sit in and just import them when the first goal comes in to see if they come out. Just damage limitation. Obviously, they'll have one eye on the cup game at the weekend as well, so they wouldn't want to come off a back of a heavy defeat going into that. But aye, job done. 3 points, and look forward to the semi final.
We had quite a lengthy chat after the game, Asim, about the time wasting. That is the kind of description of it. Jackie, do you find it frustrating? Is it nothing new? Is it getting worse?
It's nothing new, to be honest. It's probably more highlighted now because there's more platforms to do it. Before you get all the social media, everybody talking about it, TV. Back then, it was the TV and in the papers. So it's more noticeable now. There's no sort of hiding place, if you like, if something's not right, or somebody wants to put their point across. They've got a lot of platforms to do it in.
How did you deal with it back in the day? Because I dare say teams would kind of slow the game down against your teams.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse. Just you try to get momentum. You're trying to do everything quick. You know the way Ange wants to play it. Again, most managers will do that. They want to take corners quickly, free kicks, throw-ins. They want to get the speed of the game. They want the ball moving quickly, and Ange knows that teams can't live with that when they're putting them under intense pressure. It's just getting that momentum. Obviously, you want the referee to be strong in certain moments like that when it's stop-start. By giving yellow cards. It's usually if there's consistent fouls, or it usually changes it a little bit. But it is frustrating. But it's nothing new, and it's going to be one of the things. They just got to do things quickly, and hopefully it doesn't stop the flow of the game.
Yeah, it's almost like there's two different things. There's time wasting and there's slowing the game down. And it seems like a lot of the slowing the game down is going on right from the first minute. I guess that's just the way things are. We're kind of a victim of our own success in that way because we're so good at the moment. Can we pause, everyone, and look at the league table briefly? Because it's pretty brilliant form we're on this year. We've played 21 games, we've won 19 of them, drawn one, lost one. You look at second place Rangers, they're not having a bad season. They've won 15 of their 21 games, only lost 2, and they're nowhere near it. They're miles off it. And it's just because our form's been so good this year. 16-17, we took 61 points from our first possible 63. Jackie, in 03-04, you took 61 from your first possible 63. We're in 58 at the moment, and it feels very similar just in terms of having this machine that just keeps winning match after match, Asim.
Yeah, that's really good going. So it's one draw and one defeat in 21, is it? Yeah, that's really good. And there's been some great Celtic teams in the last 20 years, and to be up there, with them, just shows you how good we're doing. And you feel at times we can still get better as well. I don't think we're fully motoring yet as well, and I think that's the most encouraging thing, that you feel now going into the second half of the season. Once we're out of this transfer window, you'll see an even stronger Celtic. So yeah, it's brilliant form, and that's what makes you so confident, because it's not like one of those seasons where we're 9 clear because both teams are just dropping lots of points. As you've said, they've been pretty consistent across the city as well. It's not like they're having a shocker, but we've just been that much more consistent, that much more better. So that bodes well for us. And yeah, I think, like as I've said, I think we'll continue to see that for the rest of the season as well.
What has led to this incredible form then? Is it just that we're so much better than the rest, Asim?
Yeah, I think you've seen the games where we've toiled. Again, it's like Jackie was saying earlier, we kind of play right to the death. So there have been games where if it looks like we're getting in towards the last 10 minutes and it's looking like it might be a draw, we've just got that belief at the moment, and I think it's similar to what you had, Jackie, under Martin O'Neill, and the teams under Gordon Strachan as well. The amount of late goals we're getting to win games, it just feels that there's such a a belief that we'll go right to the death and manage to nick those goals. It's interesting to say just what we were talking about earlier about the time waste, and it's one of the things I noticed with the World Cup when everyone was talking about how the length of added on time was so high, and I was quite a fan of that because I think it kind of prevented teams from doing that because they know it would get added on. But it seems like it was just for that World Cup because you've seen since like some of the amounts that have been added on, and that's what makes it frustrating because I seen in your video yesterday as well about the SPFL's got one of the lowest amount of figures for the ball in play. So yeah, you'd like to see that clamped down on, and hopefully, like going forward, we'll see that as well. But just to touch on a point, I think yeah, we've just been so consistent, and I think that's the main reason behind it.
Yeah, if we go back to season 03-04, Jackie, all those years ago, you drew your opener at Dunfermline and then went on to win 25 games in a row. Is it just momentum, or do you reach a point where keeping the win and run kind of becomes your motivation? I mean, what's the secrets to a run like that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any different in terms of how you went into it. At Celtic, you've got to win every game. You know the teams are going to try and stop you. You know different tactics to slow the game down, but momentum's a big thing. When you've got the confidence there, and you're going in, you're playing in European games, you're coming back and getting up for the league games, and I think just having that, I think once you've got that mentality, no matter what the game is, there's no change to your approach. It's not like you're playing Barcelona or AC Milan on the midweek, then you're coming down to play a league game on the Saturday. But sometimes it's hard for the fans to get up to that. They've experienced the Champions League noise during the week, and then you're coming back and it's a game you're expected to go and win 4 or 5-0 at home. To a team maybe in the lower half of the league. But from the players' point of view and the manager, that's something that Martin instilled in the players. Every game's massive. Every game's important. Especially the year before when we got to the UEFA Cup final, we went all the games. We played all the games extra. But it was just a bit too far in the end. But then the next season we came back, and we knew the importance of every game. And you can see the results of that, the mentality.
There's obviously differences between O'Neill and Postecoglou, but I guess there's a lot of similarities as well. When you're talking about O'Neill saying every game is kind of an opportunity to win, and every game really matters at this club.
Yeah, and I think Ange's got that very quickly since he's came here. At the start, finding his feet, finding how he wants to put everything across to the players, what he expects, what his demands are, and you can see the demands now. You can see it in the players that he's worked with, and you can see the improvement in the players, not just players that he's brought in. You can see improvements of players that were already there, and that's a sign of a good manager.
Anything else from the weekend you noticed, Jackie? Anything you want to go off your chest? Any players you want to single out for some McNamara praise?
No, I think the team. I think it's always the team. Rather than individuals. I think that obviously there's talk just now with Jackie McNamara leaving and Juranovic, other ones coming in. So it's always the same at the transfer window. And I think everybody's got complete trust in what they're doing just now with the recruitment, because it has been very successful the last few windows that the players have brought in. There's not. They've all played their part and they're all improving. And I think this window will be the same. If Jackie Mack I've liked him. I think he's been a good signing. But it does look like he's going to be on his way. Juranovic hasn't been here a long time, but again, he's done well when he came in. And obviously Celtic was, for him, a chance to get somewhere else, at that point. So, no. If they do go, you wish them all the best. If they don't, then obviously you're happy to keep them.
Asim, we've had teams in the past where maybe speculation about a couple of pretty important players last year would have unsettled the entire team, but it just strikes me how the way Ange's handled this is just totally different. I mean, he's effectively, I know he's not publicly said this, but we know from his previous dealings that if these guys don't want to be here, he's not going to waste time, thinking about them.
Yeah, and it kind of strikes back to those comments at the AGM now, and when he mentioned about there'll be players that
He did warn us about all this, didn't he?
Yeah,
so we shouldn't
and I
be
think this was
surprised.
before there was any chat of Giacomakis leaving anyway. I think it was before that. So yeah, I think Ange's pretty straightforward in that sense that he doesn't want anyone to be around that's not fully committed to the cause, and I think that's what gives the fans quite a bit of ease. We just have such trust in how our recruitment's been over the last 18 months, just how many we've got right, and just belief in what Ange wants to have in the squad and the type of players and mentality he wants to have in the squad. So yeah, like you said, these two players were very important in last year's title win, but you've seen this season we've got replacements and we've got other players in. So and I feel like we'll obviously replace if they do go, if Giacomakis goes. I think we'll definitely see another striker in. So yeah, there's no concerns, and yeah, we've got full trust in Ange right now.
So 3 signings so far this month. The most recent is Tomoki Iwata. Today I get the chance to chat to him alongside the rest of Celtic fan media. Welcome to Celtic. When did you first hear about interest from the club?
12月の中旬ですね。
Okay, and how was the experience of the weekend, your first experience of Celtic Park and half-time? You got a big roar from the Celtic fans when you spoke.
いやもうすごく鳥肌立ちましたし、やっぱりサッカー選手としてここに立つのがすごく光栄な場所だなと思ってるので、もう早くもう本当にサポーターの前に立ちたいっていうの、大歓声の中立ちたいっていうのが今の本当に早く立ちたいっていうのが。
Hi Tomoki, welcome to Celtic.
Hi, thank you.
Did you get much of a chance to speak to guys in Maeda before making the move?
喋りました。こっちに何が必要かとか、どんな天気だとかはいろいろ聞きました。
Asked Ange Postecoglou if he was looking forward to being reunited with you at the weekend there, and he said he thinks you'll make a big impact the rest of this season. How happy are you to be reunited with your former manager?
すごく嬉しいですし、やっぱり日本で自分の新しい可能性を広げてくれた監督なので、やっぱり監督の力になりたいっていうのもあるので、それをしっかりピッチで表現したいなと思ってます。
Hi Tomoki, welcome to Glasgow.
Hi, thank you.
So we obviously know you can play multiple positions, defence to midfield or central defender, and I was just going to ask, has the manager spoke to you yet about specifically what position you're going to play?
詳しい話は、具体的なところはあれです。ないっちゃないっていうか、話してないですけど、でも6番したい、ボランチの方をしたいって話してますし、でも自分の良さはチームを助けられる多くのポジションができることなので、そこはボスも分かってくれてますし、ボスが使ってくれるポジションでしっかりチームに貢献したいなと思ってます。
Ichimura Tomoki, the Celtic dressing room has a lot of characters from around the world, and in the dressing room you are required to play your favourite type of music. What can the players expect to hear from you in the dressing room when it comes to your favourite kind of music?
どんな
どういうタイプの音楽
自分が聴き慣れた音楽が一番好きですかね、やっぱ
聞き慣れたなんか多分どういうジャンルとかが多分聞きたいんやけど。
ジャンルでも洋楽聴きますし、いい曲だなと思ったら聴くんで、本当に全般的に聴くんですけど、J-POP から洋楽まで、いろんな幅の音楽は好きです。
The Japanese players that have come in so far under Ange Postecoglou have been incredible in terms of their work rate. You've come in with a reputation for being a very, very hard worker. The standard of Japanese players in terms of working hard is extremely high, and it motivates the rest of the team through the manager. Is this something you can see yourself really fitting into quite easily, given your ability to work very hard?
ありますね。やっぱり自分の良さでもある運動量っていうのはすごく大事な部分でもありますし、そこは自分のストロングポイントなので、しっかり、こっちの今出ている日本人選手たちに負けないように、もっとハードワークしたいなと思ってます。
友木さん、チャルティックようこそ、今日よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。びっくりした。
As I asked you at
countryman Yuki Kobayashi a few weeks ago what type of player he is and what sort of style of play he has. He said that his hero as a youngster was Paolo Maldini, and that was the type of player he likes to be on the pitch. What heroes did you have when you were a child as a footballer, and what sort of style of player do you like to be?
ヒーローはロナウジーニョ。でどういうプレースタイルになりたいか。
どういうプレイヤーになりたいか。
今は。
今。
はやっぱり相手の攻撃を潰せる中盤で圧倒的な存在になりたいなと思ってますし、そうですね、点も取れていたら助かるなっていうプレイヤーになりたいなと思ってます。
Obviously, the J League season runs from March until November, and you are coming into Celtic now, having had only maybe 2 or 3 weeks of a break. How do you prepare physically and mentally for playing basically 1.5 seasons without a break?
そんな長くサッカーできるならすごく嬉しいなと思ってますし、体的にもその 2,3 週間、もうちょっとあったか 3,4 週間ぐらいの、ブレイクはあったので、そこでしっかり1回その日本でのシーズンの疲れを取れましたし、逆にここからもっとコンディションを上げていかないと、こっちのレベルに達さないので、そこはしっかり体的にも気持ち的にももっともっとコンディションを上げていかないといけないなと思ってます。
So you're the current holder of the MVP, the most valuable player in Japan award. Do you feel any pressure with having that title placed on you, or do you take that in your stride?
何もプレッシャーには感じてないですけど、やっぱり誇らしい賞をいただいたっていうのは名誉なことですし、その賞に恥じないようなプレーはこれからしていきたいなと思ってます。
I was just wondering what it was like making your international debut in quite an unusual circumstance, playing in the Copa America in Brazil for Japan, who were invited to the tournament.
今から4年前ぐらいになるんですけど、正直なところ何かできたかって言われると何もできなかったっていうのが印象的ですし、でもそこから成長してると思うので、その変わった姿を、今はどんどん見せていきたいなと思ってます。
You said yesterday you wanted to contribute to Celtic's history in Europe. What was the vision and Solskjaer coming in the club about Europe?
そうですね、ビジョンというか、やっぱり目の前の試合を常に勝つっていうのがすごく大事なところですし、その結果が積み重なっていければ、やっぱりその歴史を塗り替えることができるのかなと思うので、やっぱり日々のその毎週毎週訪れるその試合、目の前の試合に対して全力で勝ちに行って、勝ち続けるということが一番大事なのかなと思ってます。
Hi Ange, we signed Tomoki Iwata a week ago. He's a pretty versatile player. He can play in a number of positions. Where do you see him fitting into the team? Could we see Callum McGregor moving forward potentially? And is he someone you think can make an impact straight away, or is it a signing more geared towards next season?
A little bit of everything, you just said. So you can play multiple positions, which I think will help us. We've tried to sign 2 or 3 players recently who can do that for us, because I think it's important from a squad perspective. And we're always going to be a club that's going to have a heavy fixture schedule, so having guys who can play in more than one area, I think helps you in terms of maintaining performance. And obviously knowing Tomoki well, I think for us he could play 2 or 3 roles equally comfortable. Where he settles, we'll see. That could depend on team balance, depend on his development, where he's most comfortable in our system. What I do know about him is that he's a real intelligent guy, and he'll take it all in, and he'll push himself to get up to speed as quickly as possible, and he'll be keen to make an impact as soon as he can. But I think he arrives tonight, so hopefully he'll be at the game tomorrow and sort of get a taste of it, and then we'll start working with him and see how we go.
So he can play multiple positions, Ange says. He also says we've tried to sign a number of versatile players over the last wee while. A little bit coy there about where he thinks Iwata will fit in, but he does say that he'll be looking to get up to speed as quickly as possible. Any ideas, guys, where Iwata is going to fit in? We know he can play, I think, holding midfield, he can play centre-back, he can also even play right-back. Jackie, where do we need him most?
I don't think they're the priority positions at the moment, but I think cover's a big thing. You want him to push. If Juranovic goes, you've still got Ralston, Johnston. The other side, you've got Taylor is injured at the moment. Bernabe, who I thought did okay at the weekend. You want him to go and push Taylor a bit more, and put pressure in his position. Centre backs have been comfortable. I don't think Ange will want to change the back, the two centre backs too frequently, because they seem to be going okay together. Defensive midfielder, we've got a lot. I don't see a major issue just now in terms of what we need, but it's good obviously to have cover, because you do pick up injuries and suspensions as we've seen. It'll be interesting to see that the boy's obviously just a very good footballer, and the fact that he's worked with him before, he knows what he's getting with his personality, and his ability. So I'm sure he'll be another good signing.
Without being too obvious here, what is good about versatile players? Why do managers like them so much?
Because obviously that was one of sort of my strengths with Martin. When I lost my right wing back position, I played left centre half. I played centre midfield, left back. From my point of view, it was good because you could always find another position if someone took it.
Yeah.
If you want to start, but I think the manager's got trust in you to play you. For instance, if you get an issue in one of your positions, he's not going to go out and shell millions of pounds on another player. That you've got somebody in there that can do the job until the players come back from injury. Little things like that, and you can move around the pitch, and there's no difference. I think for a manager there, it's having like 2 or 3 players in the one that you can move them around, and they'll do a job for you.
I always remember like Pep Guardiola's great teams at like Barcelona. He had Mascherano who could play in midfield and kind of moved him back to centre back, and Fernandinho I think was another one at Man City. So if it's something like that, possibly Asim, a player who I think he's quite a feisty player from what I hear. He's got a bit of steel about him, can get stuck in, and then maybe in games where we have a bit more possession, he could even play in the back line. I guess it's all guesswork at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a key. Is by and large these kind of versatile players are just good footballers that have got kind of good game intelligence and can fit anywhere on the pitch, and it'll just be a seamless transition. And you're right, Pep does it quite a lot. I think he played he plays Rodri at the back as well sometimes for Man City, and so it's a great option to have. And I'm not sure where entirely Iwata played under him majority of the time in Japan, but I think it was in the midfield area. So, and by all accounts, he's got kind of good legs. He's quite an athletic player, and I noticed that with Alistair Johnston as well. That's one of the main characteristics I've noticed in him. He's got some engine on him. So I wonder if that's the kind of players now that we are now trying to get as well, because obviously domestically we're fine. You've seen that at the weekend. We grow stronger in the second half, and we get better. And I think Derek McInnes mentioned that as well. But in Europe, it's something you notice we often tired around the 60 minutes marks. So that could be something that Ange is looking at going forward, is just having that added kind of legs and fitness, and players that can cover a number of positions. So that's quite exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing him play, because I don't think this is one where it'll be like ages before we see him bed in, like we have with some of the other signings. So should be good to look forward to.
I've already earmarked the Morton Cup game for his debut. Maybe not starting, but certainly hopefully off the bench. It'd be good to see him. Just transfer-wise, just a wee update. I'm aware we're chatting about this every single day at the moment. Fabrizio Romano joining the party with Giacomakis chat. He tweeted, Georgios Giacomakis could now leave Celtic as many clubs are approaching the Greek striker. MLS, Japan clubs, also Sampdoria have asked for the conditions of the deal. The Daily Record say it's a 5-way fight for him. with his wages potentially doubled from what he's currently on at Celtic. The latest on Cho Gi-sung from the Korean press seems to be that it's us and Mainz in Germany who have bid so far. Our bid is said to be £500,000 more. There was a wee bit of chat, alarming chat, that Rangers were indeed in for him, shock horror, but it seems like they've not bid, so we'll wait and see how that one goes. A couple other clubs linked there as well. All roads seem to be kind of going down this Cho route at this stage, Jackie, in terms of a striker. Is that a sign that you want to see Celtic get done?
Yeah, I think especially if Jackie McNamara is leaving, I think it is something different as well. I think in certain games, I think it'll be a bit of frustration for Jackie McNamara that he's not had more games. I think he's done very well. Different type from Kyogo. He's physical. He's good in the air. Maybe a bit of more of a throwback number 9. He's back to goal and linking up things, which is good in certain games because when teams are overloading and everybody's behind the ball, there's not a lot of space there, so you want to get crosses in and he'll go and attack them, but he'll compete. He puts himself about. I do like him. So yeah, I think it might be something similar coming in. Just to that physical side.
Do you remember Cho's 2 goals at the World Cup? Either of you?
Yeah, it was against Ghana, wasn't it? It was 2 headers, 2 crosses in.
Yeah, I was watching him again last night just to refresh my memory because I actually hadn't seen the game at the time. The second one, he completely throws himself at the ball like it's an amazing header. A ball he should probably never win, and he just completely sees the ball and goes for it. Obviously a way to go in this deal, but it seems like he'd be a relatively good replacement for Giakoumakis in terms of that profile of striker, Asim.
Yeah, I remember the game actually, and he was really impressive because South Korea started going a lot more direct and getting a lot more crosses on the ball, and he was there or thereabouts for all of them. So similar to what Jackie's mentioning, it just gives you that alternative option because he's so different to Kyogo, and I think that's what's been so effective about us this season as well. Is a lot of the time when we're bringing on replacements or subs, it's not like for like. It's something different for the opposition to have to worry about, and that's what Giakoumakis often does when he comes on. He's just a threat. He's a handful. He's physical. So if chosen the similar kind of mould, and from what I've seen, that is what he provides, then I think it would be and it seems like he's our number one option, which is always good. It's not like we've failed in a couple of other moves and then we're working down the list. It seems like he's the one we want, and the fact that it's the Mainz are in for him, and a lot of kind of South Koreans have gone over and done well in Germany as well, and they're a decent club, so it shows that he's well sought after. So hopefully, I'm hopeful and excited if we can get this one done. I think he'd be a solid addition.
What kind of stuff do you think is going on at the moment, Jackie? You've managed kind of haggling over prices. They might want a bit more money. I guess the players' needs can come into the deal as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be everything. I think Michael Nicholson will be busy just now with ins and outs with everything. It'll be the players' side to be sorted, the club side to be sorted. So it does. It can slow. It can be quite slow at times. You're waiting on club to club to deal with certain things, whether it be on future sell-ons or increments. If he does this, they get paid that extra, and it will be the same with the player. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes up to the last moments of the window.
I don't say that.
Just through experience, like that was happened before. But normally, that's what the club's done. You can see, obviously, there's a lot of talk just now, but from the other club, the selling club, that's more there. They'll say there's more interest there. This team wants them or that team want them, and try and push up the price as much and get as much as they can. So I'd imagine in between times, the player side and will be sorted behind the scenes if he's coming. It'll just be then the two clubs sorting out the little fine details.
I noticed you said Michael Nicholson in charge of Celtic's transfer stuff there, so we'll hope that's still the case, given who's recently re-entered the building. I guess we'll get a good indication. I've got a VAR story here. I don't really know if I want to air it, guys. effectively Daily Record reporting that Scottish football is set to hold a VAR summit next week in a bid to force changes to the handball rule. Professional Game Board has contacted all top flight clubs for their suggestions. I don't know how much we can really say about that other than the handball rule is a bit of a farce at the moment, and again at the weekend I think we saw evidence of that. I'll leave a 5-second gap, and if either of you want to chime in, go for it. I won't hold it against you if you don't.
That's not, again, what's the summit? It's what they're going to say. It's people see what they see. VAR, it's not a computer. It's still the same people picking it. So, how one can be a handball and one's not. It's I don't see what a summit. That's just another waste of time. It depends who's looking at the VAR. That's the problem.
It's funny because I was watching a couple of games on Sunday, and one was at Tannadice and one was at Man City's ground, and there was very similar handballs both from corner kicks, I think, and one of them was given as a penalty and one wasn't, and I thought they were relatively similar in terms of the players kind of handing away for their body. So I found that interesting, but hey ho, we'll move on. Killie again this weekend, Asim. Based on last Saturday, we should certainly fancy ourselves to get to the cup final.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen a tweet from Kilmarnock saying different ball game next week or something like that from their official Twitter account. But I think, I don't know if there's been chat that they are going to play slightly differently or give it a bit more of a go. But I'm not overly concerned. Obviously, don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But based on what we've seen at the weekend and just generally, I don't think Killie have been great in many of the games I've seen them this season. So if we turn up and we're at it from the off, I'd fancy us to win that pretty comfortably. I think the key is as well just getting that first goal pretty early. You've seen as the first half went on Saturday, the longer it goes on, it gives the other team a bit of confidence. But I think if we get that goal early enough, I can see us winning by a couple.
Different ball game, Jackie, on Saturday, or more of the same?
Different in terms of it's at Hampden. But I think more of the same. Killie will try and stay in the game as long as possible and hope for something, would it be a long throw-in or set piece of some sort to try and cause problems at the back. So again, I think it'll be more of the same from Ange to do everything quickly, to get in behind them. They'll just sit in. So as I said, that the first goal was crucial. The first goal, the early get that, they'll have to change their game plan and chase the game at some point, which leaves the gaps, which then you can get in behind and cause them real problems. So yeah, I see more of the same. Stop, start, and try and take this thing out of the game, try and slow it down, and then it'll be physical. So you want obviously the referee to be strong early on, in terms of consistent fouls and persistent. So it's no stop start all the time.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a big Celtic support as well. I think we've shifted some amount of tickets for this game. Killie, I guess, will be in the minority. But yeah, very much looking forward to it. We'll have a big preview of the game for you on Friday. That's going to be the next video actually on channel. Thanks very much, Jackie and Asim, once again for your time. Thanks for tuning into this, and we'll speak to you on Friday.